Welcome to Out of Combat, our D&D after show where we discuss all things that happened in our most recent episode, which is episode 31. My name is Virtual Spectre. I play Hayden, and I'm here along with Moobs, who plays Azric, and Nina, who plays Cooter.
And you also play...
I also play Core.
Which, speaking of which, at the start of the episode, we had you role-playing with yourself. Can you talk about that? How it's been for like the past couple of episodes now that, or even how the whole experience has been when we first lost Hayden. You then became Core, not knowing when you would get Hayden back, and then playing two characters over two episodes.
Yeah, so if you've been following the show, Hayden had been petrified for a while, and while petrified, he was taken to a whole different place. The party went through a whole ordeal to find him, and eventually they were able to find him unpetrified and rescue him. And the whole time that was happening, I was playing a backup character named Core, and so having to jump back into Hayden and then having the opportunity for both of the characters to meet was something that I've kind of discussed a little bit with Max about the possibility of that happening. And but in terms of like what I was going to say to myself, I didn't know. So it was kind of just an on the spot thing. Like I was thinking, what would Core say to him? And then how would Hayden respond? And I just came up with whatever I came up with. And it was a lot of fun, actually. Because I mentioned this during our break, but as players, you don't really get the chance to do that. It's mostly a DM thing. So it was fun to actually give that a shot. So,
well, how do you feel now that Cores is now left the scene? So he's basically out of the party, and now you're playing Hate again. Who do you prefer playing more, or acting rather?
Who do you love more?
I like both for different reasons. But Hayden being the character that I had established and who I was wanting to play, it's nice to be back into that role. And it's nice to have his character sheet back. Especially now that we leveled up. Rogues are good at things. More things than paladins are good at. So I don't know. It's Core was fun. Paladin is an interesting thing to play, but I really just I don't know. I'm happy to jump back on the rogue and get back into some sailor shenanigans because Core really wasn't a sailor. So I was playing not a sailor during our best like sailing moments.
Yeah.
I hope we have more of them though, because that was really fun, and I would love to do that again with our actual ship boy.
I'm sure we will.
Yeah,
I'm sure Max has got a lot of stuff planned.
Yeah. I think so.
Especially if we go back, there's more likely we'll encounter Core maybe.
Yeah, I mean, there's pirate hunters. There's a potential war that could break out, which would mean a lot of ships moving, which means a lot of potential conflict and a lot of piracy potential off of that. Because that's when a lot of piracy happened was during like wartime. You had privateers and then you had pirates that were just when you have ships sailing supplies to armies and stuff, that's gold.
Prime time.
Food, weapons.
Yeah. It's the perfect time for pirates because there's no one going to stop them because everyone's at war.
Yeah.
So it's basically free game. So it may mean a lot of opportunities for us. Who knows?
Yeah.
What we do with that information, because Escos could be attacked, which is Azur's home.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's is it Oshamaram that's next?
Shamaran, yeah, that's which is Cooter's and Hayden's.
In Hayden's turf, so
kind of home though. Like I don't know. Yeah, like it's our
where
home.
He grew up.
Yeah, it's like where we grew up and stuff. But I guess that's the same for Azra, because it's kind of like it's where I grew up, but like,
Like,
but you
I don't
hate
think
going there.
I think Azric wouldn't care if there was a war with Ontes and Escos, but his mom lives there, and he doesn't want that shit to
Mm.
happen. So
Speaking
Yeah.
of which, with your tiff with your brother, I wonder if then, because I feel like we are going to have to go back to pursue the artifact situation there, especially I know I want to. It's like my whole like main goal is I need to check this thing out, and it's so dangerous and so it's like, yeah, war is one thing. This thing could obliterate like an entire island. So being forced to go back, do you think there might be a very heavy discussion with mom?
I think the way the argument ended is Azric will disappear. He won't be in the scene anymore. And because if he does, it's just going to cause more conflict between Ziljarn and Azric, but then also put their mother in the middle of it, where they both know Azric no longer reveres the Lotus King and has turned to a different power in order to live instead of.
So you think they basically have just accepted the fact that Azric has exiled himself at this point? Like you tried to kind of reunite, but
I really tried to let Ziljarn see where Azric's coming from, but like they're both so stubborn in their beliefs that
it was a Twitter conversation. Yeah, absolutely.
No side is hearing each other.
Yeah.
So there's just like a lot to deal with, and like because they're both blind, right? Like Azric is blinded the way his upbringing and how he views the church and how the Lotus King did nothing for him. But like if he's chosen, then why is he sick all the time? And then Zildjian on the other side is where the Lotus King is everything, and you should have put your faith in the Lotus King and believed and let the gods decide your fate, right? So just like so Azra's like, no, I'm not letting the gods decide my fate. I'm taking matters in my own hand. So it's and then their mom's in the middle of that, so it's just like how are they gonna resolve this issue? I don't know. It's not easy. It's like real life. It's weird. I don't know.
But also, if wars come in, like there might be like a forced family reunification or something. I don't know. It'll be interesting because we do have to go. There's still like so much there that we have to chase up, and I think there's just opportunities for family chaos.
Well, yeah. If you paid attention, I'm talking about the viewers too. When Azric agreed to help the Dawn, like his spiritual brother, I would say, because they're both touched by the Lotus King. Azric's patron did not like that, and that's why Azric lost his powers. So I feel like
it was not good.
It's a conflict of interest of Azric's patron for Azric to want to save Escos because that's where the Lotus King lives. And so I don't know that might because if when Azric got his powers back, the patron was like, "You are mine, and remember that because I can take away your powers at a snap of a finger." So Azric's not helping anyone if he loses his powers.
Nope. Please don't.
It's super tough. Super tough.
Same with Hayden. It's like, please don't die.
Well, hopefully there won't be a situation quite like that again. That was even now it's like, man, it's been 11 episodes and several months real lifetime of
it felt like forever.
And it's all because like I rolled bad twice. It's it.
It was just like a bad turn in combat. And it just led to this crazy journey of like, because we honestly all thought as a group that we would have Hayden back in like 1 or 2 episodes maybe, or
I did
something
too.
like
Yeah,
that.
this is going to be easy.
It was like,
3
oh, we're
max.
just going to go on a one-shot mission and we'll find him and then we'll like bring him back. And then it was like episode after, we're like, where is he?
Yeah, I mean, when it happened, Max was like, it's. He told me, he's like, it's not going to be one of those things where he's going to come back right away. The party's going to have to figure it out. So I was like, okay, a handful of episodes, they'll have to do something. So when I made Core, like, I mentioned this before, I didn't give him, like, when I picked spells, it was spells for a specific quest that the party was going to go on, and then it extended, and I was like, man, I'm a paladin that doesn't have any healing but lay on hands. Most of my stuff is geared towards like I have Zone of Truth, and then I have like what is it, where you can compel somebody to duel you. It's like very specific things that would have been good for the, getting people to talk or whatever we needed to do on that first quest. I wasn't thinking long term with him.
But that's so funny though, because like a lot of us in the group do have healing anyway, and those spells ended up being so interesting and so perfect for his character as someone who's basically like the hotshot detective of the watch.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like it was so.
Well, paladins can change your spells at a long rest, right? Like clerics.
I didn't know that.
Oh, wow.
Who cares? It was part of the character.
if you ever play cores again, now you know.
Yeah, I thought it was one of those things where, like, when you level up or you get new spells, you choose the spells, and then like sorcerers, that's what you have.
Yeah, paladins are like clerics, so they can prepare their spells for the day.
Okay.
You had options, but I guess you didn't know that. So.
Oh,
that probably would have changed a lot of things.
It was still so good though. Like I thought they were so interesting.
And sure enough, the moment where Zone of Truth would have been helpful, he didn't have any spell slots left.
I forgot we were all tapped out. I was just basically at 1 hit point. Like Core and Azris were basically walking corpses while we're trying to interrogate this guy.
So what are your thoughts on like potential motives for the cartel? Like, I feel like the guy knew more than he was saying. Like, obviously he was being cagey the entire time, but we couldn't like get any more out of him.
Yeah, we could have. Bun said this earlier after our stream. We could have done like interrogation. We could have done intimidation. We could have persuaded him, but like I think we just kind of acted it out rather than letting the dice roll for us. So maybe we should have like intimidate him.
I didn't roll. I'll say I didn't roll for anything as Hayden because every roll would have been at a disadvantage.
Because you're exhausted.
Yeah. So I was like.
But also, I think it's those situations where we try to balance like how much stuff we do in character versus out of character, because we always try to push our group to do everything in character, which is hard to then say. Like you say your line of dialogue and then you're like, as I say this, I am attempting, like this is my intent. I would like to roll when saying this thing. But I think that maybe there is a more elegant way to weave that in, you know what I'm saying? Or like, or say the out of combat stuff while still in character or something like that. I think maybe that's part of where the confusion comes in for me particularly as well.
Yeah, I think you can get away. I've seen when people do really good role play, they'll still like, they'll have the conversation, the back and forth, and they'll be like, yeah, no, inside check that or something.
Yeah. I want to do this. Yeah.
It doesn't like break the flow of the RP. It's kind of, it's part of the game, I think.
No, exactly. It's just a practiced thing.
Yeah.
In terms of balance, because I think as players, some of us, if we if we start talking about something out of combat, then we'll kind of get stuck on that train of thought. It's like a practiced skill to be able to do your performance part of the actual play and then also say, wait, this is actually the thing I want to do quickly, and then jump back into the performance part.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think next session we'll probably be on top of that and be like, I want to do this.
I think we left a lot at the door, like, because that guy, we could have convinced him to be our connection to the cartel, so we had it in. At the end, because Max, I think Max tried to get us there, where he's like, it was nice doing business with you. Like, it's just business, it's not personal. So we could have just, or like, hey, you're our contact now with the cartel. We're gonna let you free.
We can
in
still go back because we're staying for the auction.
That's true, but
we did leave him. We left him alive.
That's true.
Yep.
Don't know how his cartel buddies are going to handle him, and we're still on the Gilded Atoll, so there's a chance, depending on what happens, that we could run into him again.
Yeah, we could chase him down and say, look, because there might be a chance that, not feeding information to the DM who's probably listening in off screen somewhere, that like if he gets in trouble for like letting Hayden go or letting Hayden escape, we might have leverage with him to then say, oh, are you fearing for your life, lad? Well, this is what we need. Maybe we can help you get off the island, or whatever we need to do. I think there's still ways back to that, which I think might even be more interesting than.
Yeah.
I think our focus was just like, make sure Hayden is okay.
He was pretty beat up and exhausted, so.
Everyone was literally running on fumes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Everything's so stressful because we as a party, as a group of adventurers, we don't take breaks. We haven't had time to stop and think. Like, it's always been like react, go. It's really, I don't know if our group is built that way where we could just chill for a week like we're going to now, but it's like we're chilling for a week because we have a purpose, not just to learn a new skill or just relax.
Yeah, but that also doesn't mean that we have to play out the whole week.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that has to do with just the circumstances of the past handful of sessions. Like, we've had stuff that needed done. Like, we had to get the artifact back, and then had to figure out what happened to Hayden, and then track him down, and then fight ship battles along the way. So it's been go because we've kind of fell into that. So I think now that we've kind of seemingly peaked a little bit and we're kind of on the downhill we might have some more opportunity to like take a breather, really plan out what we want to do next, and go from there.
I think another bigger question is, how did they know where Hayden was? So like, people are watching us and we don't know who's watching us because they have very intimate information and knowledge of our existence and where we're going and where we've been, enough for them to steal Hayden.
That's why when we were in having that conversation in your quarters, Hayden's like, hey man, like, I don't know how that happened, but that means there's people out there that are looking for me, at least. Like,
I think we have to be more aware of our surroundings and maybe like try to.
You say that like I don't have a natural perception of 20.
Do you really?
Literally, her perception is like 19 or something. I think it's 19 or 20.
Did you take the observer feat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
That's a good feat.
That's why Max is always like, you walk into the room and Kuta perceives this.
Pretty much.
Because he knows that if I try to roll for it, it'll be terrible regardless.
It's crazy.
We got to figure out what our next plans are. I think we we have like a whole week, but then like either Thursday night or Friday morning, or like, what are we doing? You know, because we have our side chat trying to like plan out what our next moves is.
I'm really excited for the fantasy version of CES, personally.
Oh, yes.
Can't wait to see all the new arcane tech that probably shouldn't exist but does. Surprised that none of the arcane police show up to shut the show down.
Our quest log's pretty large, because we have like Max has a lot of carrots dangling, and we just like nibble at each carrot and then we kind of forget about it. So we got a lot of planning and prep to do.
Well, the whole crew can figure it out because we're all together again.
Yay!
So yeah, that's gonna do it for us. And let's see. Yeah, next week we got a whole week in the Gilded Atoll. We're gonna try to do an auction thing. We got stuff to buy, people to smooge with, and yeah, we'll see what happens. So thank you everybody for listening, and we'll catch you next time. So don't forget, join us in the Discord. We all hang out in there, discord.gg/casters and cantrips. We're on Twitch, we're on YouTube, we're on wherever you find your podcasts. And thank you, and we'll see you again.
Bye.
Bye.